Welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Eugene Chan. Joining us is Angel Sienler, Director of Art Basel Hong Kong. She leads the direction of Art Basel's flagship show in Asia, shaping its growth and future development. Angel has been with Art Basel since 2012, overseeing its expansion in Greater China, as well as show strategy and gallery relations. She played a key role in sustaining the art community during the pandemic, leading Art Basel's first in-person spotlight event in Hong Kong in 2020. With a background spanning curatorial work, private collections, and artist-led initiatives across Asia, Europe, and the Middle East, she brings a truly global perspective to Hong Kong's cultural landscape. Welcome to the show, Angel, for the first time.
Thank you, Eugene.
Firstly, I must congratulate you on hosting another successful Art Basel last month. I believe we had the first one in 2012. And you brought over 240 galleries from 40 countries. As all the viewers know, Hong Kong has been a global financial center that has been much accepted fact, but now with this event, it makes Hong Kong a new role as what we call a meeting point for the global art world. Can you share with the viewers how all this happened and how did Hong Kong become such a serious player?
Yes, well, I have to say that really thanks to the city that has been working with us relentlessly since 2013, where we had our first Art Basel Hong Kong show. And back then, the commercial side of the art sector was leading much more because the auction houses actually have been in Hong Kong for decades before Art Basel stepped in. And the leading gallery, Gagosian, has also just came to Hong Kong a couple of years before we came. And the time when we first stepped in, we saw the potential of Hong Kong being a leading hub in Asia. And we know that West Kowloon and plus Palace Museum has always been in the plan. So we had the belief that the public sector will catch up tremendously, which it did in the past years. So for the past 10 plus years, the private sector as well as the public sector has grown together very well towards today's global hub position.
Right, Angel, I believe Art Basel not only stationed in Hong Kong, because we had a very piece of good news from Secretary Rosanna Law that we have signed a 5-year contract, another 5-year contract. And I believe there are other major cities in the world also have Art Basel. Maybe you can share with the viewers.
Yes, actually Art Basel has 5 shows around the year, starting from February in Doha, Qatar, March in Hong Kong, Basel in June, our mothership in Switzerland, Paris in October, and we're rounding up the year in Miami Beach in December.
Right. For most people, art is very abstract. Not only that, but they always feel that it's for the privileged and for the niche group in any community. Do you agree?
That's always the perception of which are the group of people can buy art. However, I think over the years we observed that anyone can be an art lover and anyone can be inspired by art. And actually, collectors can also come from different parts of the world, whether you are the ultra high network or you just saving up for buying a piece of something that hand in your own home. So actually, art, it's a universal language, and then we do believe that art is for everyone.
Right. Just now when we were in the makeup room, we were saying that Hong Kong is known to be a cultural desert to many people. And you told me that when you first came to Hong Kong, a taxi driver said, wow, you're in this trade, how are you going to survive? So how have you done in the last, over a decade? How have you seen Hong Kong changed?
Yes, that is the very reason why we believe that art is for everyone, because we really saw that the enthusiasm in Hong Kong towards modern and contemporary art, it's huge. Every art fair, we almost always sell out the weekend tickets before the weekend hits, and we always see long queues waiting to getting into the halls, just from the general public. Everyone in Hong Kong has this open mind to accept new culture and contemporary art. It's not something that every day you will see that in a city like Hong Kong. However, everyone in Hong Kong is willing to learn.
Right.
So we want to be more inclusive and more diverse in terms of our programming, our content, so everyone gets to enjoy a piece of contemporary art when Art Basel comes to the city.
Right. Would you say that the audience or the sort of one who joined, do you see more young people or even first-time person trying to see what it is all about? Do you see that?
Yes, I have to say that Hong Kong, out of all our shows around the world, Hong Kong is the show that attracts the highest number of younger generations art lovers. Every year we see that the increase of younger generations audience coming into our fairs, no matter it's from art collectors or simply just art students.
Would you say that Hong Kong's, I mean, we are always say ourselves we're at crossroad between the East and the West culture. Do you see that sort of taste, sort of shaping the taste and curation of the work that people like?
Absolutely. Hong Kong is a melting pot of culture. That is also one of the reasons why we chose to set foot in Asia, in Hong Kong, because we feel that with this open mindset, people will be more willing to accept what contemporary art can bring to the city. And it's now a proof that art is not only for aesthetics, it's not only for pleasure, but art has such a great economic impact in the city as well. And that's also why art attracting people from all different industries and sectors.
Right, since you mentioned it has sort of an economic value, I'm going to ask you, how does all these, I mean, economic downturn in the whole world, plus all these geopolitical conflicts, how is that affecting the art world? Is it making it better or making it more challenging?
I have to say that art always brings hope to people, and I always call it the art market is the sentimental market, meaning that people always find inspiration from art, and people always want to own a piece of art. Having that in their own home or in their private collections means something to them, and that is also why that Hong Kong has such a solid collector base, because of this open mindset, because this willingness to connect themselves with art and culture, and that is also the reason why after 10+ years, Hong Kong is not only a financial hub, but also now a cultural hub of Asia.
Right. So I think in the 15 5-year plan, this is our job. This is, I mean, the national plan for us to do this. So how do you compare our city compared to so-called competitors like Seoul, Tokyo, and Singapore? What are our strengths?
I always think of competitions with this Eastern philosophy, meaning that we are not there to kill each other's business, but we are actually complementary to each other's business for the sake of raising awareness of art and culture in the regions. Obviously, Hong Kong being the leading cities and Art Basel being the leading art fair set foot in Hong Kong would help developing such international art business in Asia from Hong Kong. I always call it Art Basel is here to activate the entire region from the city of Hong Kong because of this global identity of Hong Kong that is supporting our business here. And I do believe that different cities in Asia also offers different uniqueness from their perspectives. Singapore is very different to Hong Kong, Korea is very different to Japan, and Southeast Asia also offers something completely different. And Hong Kong being in the center geographically obviously helps moving this forward.
Right, since we're on to the term cultural hub that you brought up, I want to go a bit deeper. What does it actually mean? Because does it mean just a city that sort of hosts major art events, or how can we be a truly global cultural hub? I'm sure the viewers would like to learn from you.
I think that's a great question. A lot of us think that a hub meaning that's where everybody comes, everybody connects, which is true. From where I stand as an art fair, as an art platform organizer, what we need is not only the trade. Obviously, the trade is the center of our business, but also is the awareness, the high level of awareness simply in culture among the cities, among the general public, among the art audience, among the government, and among all the public sector as well as the private sectors. And Hong Kong has that. Hong Kong understands the level of soft power can offer to the cities, and Hong Kong is willing to cherish culture. So that is what makes a cultural hub truly meaningful.
Right, time for a short break now. We'll be right back with more Straight Talk. We are back on Straight Talk with Angel Sean-La, Director of Art Basel Hong Kong, and we have been talking about Hong Kong's art ecosystem and if Hong Kong has what it takes to become a true cultural hub. So, Angel, thank you very much for explaining what actually meant by cultural hub and being so right on the doorstep of the Greater Bay Area. And we often hear the term super connector, super value adder. Can we actually sort of assist our mainland counterparts to go international or vice versa? I mean, I'm thinking, how does Hong Kong will play this role as a sort of a Asia hub?
Hey, I do truly believe that Hong Kong has a great advantage sitting within the Greater Bay Area. Obviously, the hardware around us is super supportive of developing any businesses, including art business. And Hong Kong being the leading positions where the talents come from, that is also very important. Hong Kong attracts people like me who are not originally from here, and people like my colleagues, my community, my fellow community, art lovers and art professionals coming to the city because Hong Kong has so much to offer, not only coming here to work, but coming here to live. And that is what makes Hong Kong the true hub for the Greater Bay Area.
Right, I read that in 2025, there are like 86,000 visitors to Art Basel, and more than half are actually from overseas. I mean, I have the privilege to know that you were brought up in England, work in Dubai, and now in Hong Kong. How do you see sort of this sort of developing sort of cultural hub, helping Hong Kong in bringing more values to the city, not just the art world? Do you see much sort of economic value? I'm gonna have to ask you that question because Hong Kong is a financial center.
I do always believe that economy is something that brings people to a city, but culture is something that keeps the people there. And Hong Kong being the cultural hub, not only attracting business to come to do one-off businesses, but attracting families to stay and growing their next generations in Hong Kong. So I think that is the charm of Hong Kong. It's a city where everything is being so compact and it has so much to offer. And now we not only have the conditions to build businesses, but we also have the conditions to nurture the next generation.
Right, so can I assume my next question will be positive from you, that the arts can it genuinely become a sustainable economic pillar for Hong Kong? What do you think?
Absolutely. I think art is not only sustainable, art is also regenerative.
Right. So far we've talked about all the good things, all the successes. Let's talk about some challenges. I mean, you have organized this sort of major event in Hong Kong that sort of help Hong Kong increase the population. I mean, visitors of like 13%, as according to the government. Do you see any limitations in this city in hosting major art events? Like, do we have enough corporate sponsors? Do we have enough venues? Do we have enough visitors? What do you think?
Obviously, putting together such a large-scale event comes with many challenges. So far, the biggest challenges for us is coming out of COVID. That's why we're so thankful for the Hong Kong government to be supportive of us since throughout COVID and coming out of COVID with Mega Ace event, as well as now the 5-year deal that we just signed with the city. We are very much committed to the city, and then we are grateful that the city is also very committed to us. The challenge always comes with such a big event, you want to please everyone that comes onto an event. But it's almost impossible to make sure that everyone is happy. So what we are trying to do is to make sure our programming is as diverse as possible. As you mentioned from the very beginning, we do have the obligations to sell, meaning that we do have to protect the trading position of Hong Kong. So we do have to attract as many ultra-high networks to Hong Kong for that week as possible. But at the same time, we also have to service the grassroots, where the artist sector come from, where the art students come from. So that gives a lot of challenges to us to expand that spectrum in a course of a week. Venue could be something that we constantly looking for new venues, constantly looking for new venue sponsors. At the same time, that could be a benefit as well, because now everybody wants to work with Art Basel. So we actually start having more options, and it's just the balance, how much we are doing.
Right.
Because not more is the more the merrier. It's really finding that balance.
Right. Since you just mentioned about ticket sales, I'm just thinking, how will you compare Hong Kong Art Basel compared to the other Art Basel in the world in terms of ticket sales and audience engagement? Do you see Hong Kong having any special thing in Hong Kong, or how do you think we still have a lot of room to grow?
Hong Kong has a lot of room to grow. For example, we only sell a certain amount of tickets on site at the convention center because we want to make sure that the amount of people coming to Hong Kong, the usability, the experience is always high quality. It's already very packed for a public day coming to an art fair, and we have to cap it there. However, how we are going to expand the visitor rate is across the city. Since COVID, since coming out of COVID, we have already started bringing more and more artworks into the city. For example, our collaboration with M+, and our collaboration with Swire Properties. So we're bringing large-scale major artworks into the city, working with different institutions and organizations, and so that many more people can enjoy art in that week, even without coming to the convention center.
Right. Would you say that are we attracting the right mix of local, global, and also regional sort of galleries so far? Where are the gaps?
At the moment, with the city's help, we're actually attracting a lot more high-quality art professionals year on year. For example, the International Cultural Summit hosted by West Kowloon and the Museum Summit hosted by LCSD. They are attracting a lot more high-level museum institution leaders coming to the city at the same time as Art Basel. And our job is attracting more ultra-high network. With these two key categories of people coming in, we're attracting a lot more art lovers from all industries coming into Hong Kong. So at the moment, the mix is pretty balanced, and then we're always working on fine-tuning it.
Right. Apart from sort of the exhibitors, I have to go back to the sort of the viewers as well, because after all, we want more and more people to be enjoying the good work you have done. How can you, or would you have plans after like over a decade now to make this experience even more attractive, even more sort of more inclusive? Because I had the privilege to visit there. It does take a long time to walk through all the galleries, and it can be quite tiring. Anything that you can do to sort of make life a bit sort of more efficient, or make us to see the thing that we like most?
Yes, I always encourage our audience to look at the floor plans, studied different sectors. Like before we came here, you were asking me what is cabinet, for example.
Right, yes.
And speaking of being inclusive, we also recently this year introduced a digital art sector, which is called 010, because we believe that with technology, with digital art, we can actually expand, widening our scope of audience base even further.
Mm-hmm. Well, now we are at the last part of the show. We have to look at the way forward. Hong Kong has been doing well, especially after coming off COVID, and now with the 15th five-year plan, sort of pushing us. But we must not forget, although you said with the other cities, you treat them as not competitors, but sort of partners. But I would say, how can Hong Kong stay ahead of all these? Have you got any plans?
Yes. How do we stay ahead of this? I feel that it's always working together. Hong Kong has a very unique advantage, which is the community loves collaborations. The private sectors is always willing to collaborate with the public sectors in order to stay at the top, and in order to always consistently move forward. We need each road in the so-called art ecosystems to move forward together. And that is what we aim to be, which is being the intersection of the art ecosystem, leading everyone to moving to the same direction, which is forward and upward together.
Right, and I also read the news released by the government that they're deepening the relationship with Art Basel by signing a 5-year sort of contract. How do you interpret the word deepening? I mean, I'm sure you're not just hosting another event annually. What are the other plans that you work with the government, and how will us as the public, if you want to engage, how can we engage and support your work?
Often people ask me, the art fair is only 5 days, and then what do you do in the rest of the 360 days around the year? Actually, putting together such a large-scale event, obviously the production cycle is very long. But what is more importantly is what Art Basel does around the year is to continuously cultivate a so-called art community. And now, with the support from the government, we don't only want to bring together the art world, but we want to bring together the world of art, meaning that creatives, fields around the city, around the region, we want to continuously bring them together. And March being the focal point for Hong Kong for art and culture, but we want that influence to transcend throughout the year.
Right. I think we have to leave it there for now, and thank you, Angel, for sharing your insights with us. Hong Kong has proven it can attract the world's leading galleries and collectors, but becoming a real culture hub also means ensuring that culture is not just showcased, but deeply embedded in a city's identity. Have a good evening and see you next week.